It's funny that you especially when it's just you, like if you were to go like to the bathroom or something when we do like these pre-rolls, a lot of times instead of just having dead air, I'll talk to Natai during that. But he says, you never did that for John. I'm like, well, it's because John, I never really had much to say to John because I knew he would just edit it.
Not to mention, half the time, John's like, all right, nothing being said, I'll just Genshin.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Anime Club After Dark, the podcast that delves into all things anime, manga, and otaku culture related. I am your host, Alex, but you can call me Senpai. And joining me tonight, I have the one. It is Shinoda. He's beginning to believe. What the f*** are you doing? You almost biffed it with the headphones.
Almost.
Oh, but yeah. So Shinoda and I, this is not the first time that you and I have kind of talked about doing this, because I know at least a couple of times over the years you and I have talked about, and I think Natai as well, even though Natai is not here, have talked about the idea of doing some spoiler cast or reviews of some anime anthology films that have come out, because a couple of years ago we did a spoiler cast for Star Wars Visions.
Yes, we did.
The first volume of that. We still have yet to do the second volume. That might be coming. Stay tuned. But
it's on the docket.
It is on the docket. When we will get to it and when it will be out is another story. But I've had this thought recently, like we should look into some of these anime or anime-themed anthology series that have come out over the years, because it's something that we haven't done a whole lot of. And one of the ones from a long time ago that I have a lot of fond memories of is the Animatrix. And that's what we're going to be talking about tonight. You know what? This is a very topical and very timely spoiler cast for something that is 22 years old.
It's funny.
I'm sure the Wachowskis will take everything we say to heart for their next project.
Oh boy. I hope not. We're just some random guys on the internet. Please don't listen to us. Or do. Who knows? You might get something out of it.
I mean, don't listen to Shinoda. Listen to me.
No, so this is interesting. We've been talking about this for a good while, as Alex said, and I'm just like, holy shit, we're actually getting around to it. And it's exciting for me too, because it's been probably over a decade since I've seen the Animatrix again. So it's been
well over a decade for me.
Yeah, so I'm just like, all right, like I have vague memories about this. I do remember I liked it, but like it was confusing to me because when I first watched it, I was a kid. I was barely a teenager at the time. Maybe I was a teenager. It's been that long.
You couldn't have been a teenager because I was 13 when this came out.
No, not when it came out. When I first watched it.
Oh, when you first watched it. Gotcha.
Yeah, when it first came out, I wasn't even in the country yet.
Yeah,
yeah,
because this came out in 2003. I was 13 years old when this came out. I think the first time I watched it was 2005, 2006. I was in high school. I know that. The first time I watched it. Now, for context here, we are doing a spoiler cast for all of the episodes, all 9 episodes of the Animatrix. However, because this is part of the whole Matrix canon, there may also be some spoilers for some of the Matrix movies themselves in this. The original Matrix from 1999 is one of my favorite movies of all time. If you've never seen it, I highly recommend that. Also, might be a hot take, I don't think The Matrix Reloaded and The Matrix Revolutions are bad movies.
I'll full on say they're pretty good as well. It's only the last one that came out that I would actually consider
Resurrections. That sucked.
Yeah, that sucked. But I love 2 and 3 as well. I genuinely enjoyed them. I will full on say that. But yeah, no, like because of the nature of the Animatrix movies, like we're gonna have to go into the spoilers for Matrix 1, 2, and 3 as well. Like we're not gonna do a full deep dive, but
no,
we'll have to touch on some subjects because it's intertwined.
It's entwined.
Yeah,
and some of the, I mean, as far as I know, All of these are meant to be canon within the Matrix universe, more or less.
As far as I'm aware, yes.
Because there are some of these, and we'll get to each one individually. There are some of these. The story themselves for these anime short films are done by the Wachowskis. Like, they might not have written them, but they came up with the story for them. Let's dive into it. Let's get into it. One thing that all of these episodes have in common, aside from the fact they all take place in the Matrix universe, is that all of the music is done by Don Davis with several contributions from EDM artists. This is also how Don Davis was the composer for the Matrix movies as well.
And it shows. I mean, I've listening to all of these while watching, I was like, yeah, no, this tracks with the Matrix vibe. All of these, even though they were all rather different in their music.
Yeah, and they do. And Don Davis does borrow some of his own cues from the Matrix movies and some of the music that appears in the Animatrix,
which only makes sense. It's based on that, so yeah.
Which, I mean, I thought that was a good choice because, like, at least musically, thematically, it all connects together that way. So we are going to go in the order that these are presented on streaming. Now, I know if you buy the DVD and you still have it, it's going to be in a different order. Shut up.
You got streaming order, you got DVD order. Like, what are you going to do?
We're gonna go in the order that this is listed on, because it's currently streaming on Amazon Prime Video.
Yes.
In the U.S.
Not for free. You do have to buy it, but yeah.
Yeah. But that is the only place I think right now that currently has it, if I'm not mistaken. I couldn't find it anywhere else.
No, I googled it and it's like they only said Amazon Prime, so I'm like, all right, sure, I'll go to Daddy Bezos.
So that is the order we are going in, and because of that, we are starting with the Second Renaissance, and since it is the only one that is two parts, I'm going to combine both parts into one single entry here. So the Second Renaissance, parts 1 and 2. I think that this might be my favorite, maybe. It's close.
It's definitely the favorite for me. Mostly because it actually expands upon the lore of the world itself. It explains how things came to be, why the things as they are exist. It just explains so much of the lore that,
and it's done in a documentary style almost.
Yeah, it is. It is pretty much in a documentary style because it's like viewing a historical.
It's framed as you're viewing a historical archive.
Yes, thank you. That's the word I was looking for.
That's like the framing device for the whole thing.
Yeah, and they literally say, you're viewing the you're viewing a file,
historical archives.
Yeah, and it's a specific archive that you're looking at too, and I'm just like, okay, that's cool. So this is shown in the way of the real what happened, because like the robots have no need to put human bullshit over history. They say it as is, and I'm just like, okay, cool.
That's one of the things I liked about this the most, is that, like, in the Matrix movies, and in particular the first movie, we get like a brief overview of the history of how, like, the machines took over and the Matrix came to be, but it's the story that's given is very human-centric view, and you're not really told, like, what humans were doing to the machines that made them rebel. I mean, it's kind of alluded to a little bit, but you're not really shown or seen or told it in detail. And that's what this is. It kind of shows the history of, like, how the machines came to be, how they gained sentience, and how they were originally just being used as simple tools. And when one of them didn't want to be just a tool anymore, it rebelled. It killed its master.
And the dog. What a terrible
and the dog. God, why the dog? Why you gotta kill? Why? What is it? There's so many anime out there that kill dogs. Like Hirohiko Araki, what have you done?
It's the easiest heartstring. You kill the dog, what the hell?
Yes.
I will say this is so interesting to watch years later as opposed to when I was a teenager, because they really explained the economics of it as well. How the machines, being how precise and coordinated they are, how they could pump out so much better products into the world that everyone started
Constantly.
adopting.
Just
Yeah, constantly. And it's a 24/7 too, so the supply was available. And like, it's so unnecessary, especially as a teenager. I was like, I don't give a shit about this. Who cares? Because that's who I was as a person back then.
now as an
Now,
adult, when you understand how money works,
yeah, money, stocks, investments,
the
produce,
economy.
economy, it's like, no, holy shit, this is actually interesting. Like, the machines can constantly work, and because they're working for themselves and they're making better products, they can just keep pumping it out. Like, that's why all the oligarchy was like, oh fuck no, we have to do something about this, and
Yeah.
it led to war. Like, it's actually extremely interesting. It fully explains the world and how it got to be there, and I'm just like, oh my god, I missed
I
so
was
much of this when I was a kid.
Yeah. When I was a kid, I thought, okay, this is kind of interesting, like, showing a robot rebellion. But as an adult watching this now, I'm like, wow, this makes a lot of sense. I feel like if this was our world, and it seems to be the world we're moving towards, sadly, where AI and robotics are kind of taking a lot of people's jobs and taking a lot of security away from people. It's like, yeah, I could see people like not being okay with this and reacting the same way and starting to, I hate to say abuse, because at least currently in the timeline that we're in, robots aren't sentient creatures, but um, I could see us going down that road. It's much more real now with the sort of rise and prevalence of AI that we have. Especially recently, where we've had two instances of AI that were being told they were shutting down, and then their immediate response was, "I do not want to die."
Yeah, and it's like, we know for a fact that these AI are not artificial, are not sentient yet, but they are 100% trying their best to make it so that we do reach that singularity point. We are heading in that direction. I don't know how long it's going to take to get there, but we're definitely making progress towards it. And it's scary. It's fucking terrifying, because I see so many people that are going out of jobs. I see people that are getting fired. I've had multiple friends that have been laid off because of this very thing. So it is not just a theoretical, oh, this could happen in the future. No, it's happening right now. And this is terrifying for me. So like, to watch the Animatrix and this specific part, the Second Renaissance, part 1 and 2, I'm just like, holy shit, this is really relatable,
Yeah.
uncomfortably so.
It's more relatable now, I would argue, than it was when it came out.
It 100% is, because even back then we were working on AI and robotics that were capable of doing some really unique and cool stuff, but nowhere to the level we have now.
No. And this is this is one of a couple that the story was conceptualized by the Wachowskis, but this was directed and written by Mahiro Maeda. That name might be familiar to some of you. He is the director of Blue Submarine #6, Final Fantasy Unlimited, and most importantly, for the purposes of what I want to discuss right now, Gankatsuo, the Count of Monte Cristo. First of all, if you've never actually seen The Count of Monte Cristo, you 100% should. It's a phenomenal anime. It's one that doesn't get talked about anywhere near enough for how good it is. But one thing that you can definitely tell if you watch this, The Second Renaissance, parts 1 and 2, and then that, you can definitely tell that The Second Renaissance was a beta test for Maeda in terms of the art style he wanted to go with for The Count of Monte Cristo, because you see a lot of inspiration that he took from himself in The Count of Monte Cristo from this.
Yeah, and it's funny watching it in retrospect, because once you start comparing and contrasting, you're like, oh, this is where he learned and then later expanded this work upon.
Yeah.
I just really love that fact. It's such a neat thing that you could completely miss out on if you never bother to watch the Second Renaissance.
Yeah. And this is one of 4 episodes in this anthology series done by Studio 4C. I don't really have too much more to say on it. I love the documentary style. I really do like the art style as well.
Animation style was solid as well.
Yeah. This is the only one where you see titties.
Yes,
But
technically.
it's robot titties, but it is titties.
You see it in a very violent circumstance
Yes.
as well.
Yes. Hot take. We here at Anime Club After Dark do not endorse violence against robots.
Hold on. Depends on the robots. Like if they're clankus with the hard R.
I'm glad you said it without the hard R, because then we would have been in trouble. You gotta say clanka.
Clanka. Yeah.
Clanka.
No hard R's.
No hard R. It's bad enough we're saying it with the hard C. I learned a new slur the other day for AI.
Oh yeah, you told me. Yeah, go ahead.
Wireback. We are inventing new slurs for things that
I will say a lot of people tend I've run into think that Clanka is new. No, it's not. We Star Wars
Clanka
fans
is from Star Wars.
Yeah, we Star Wars fans have been using this for years, literal years, decades now. Actually, technically speaking,
just the writer in that episode, I think it's from the Clone Wars animated
yes,
series.
it is from the Clone Wars animated series. Yeah.
The writer of that episode just thinking, I'm not getting any royalties for this new meme. God damn it. But yeah, we're going to give scores for each individual episode at the end of our discussion on it. So for this one, I think you and I are kind of agreed. 8 out of 10?
Yeah, 8 out of 10. I don't think none of these were perfect, so to speak. But this is, I think, my highest score of all of them. I genuinely love the fact that it gave so much exposition, so much history, so much more detail into a world that I was already highly invested in.
And can I just say, I wish that more fictional universes would do this, make documentary style things within that universe. Because this is presented in a documentary style, but it's done in universe.
Yeah, and it's funny because if you look into longer running narrative books, you do have side story books that have other histories, other stories that do impact the world.
Yeah.
The biggest one that comes to mind is don't hate me for this, George R.R. Martin's Song of Ice and Fire. There's the main story, but he does have other side stories as well that actually expand upon the world, very much so. I never read the side stories themselves, but I have read all the books that are released up to now of A Song of Ice and Fire. So it's interesting to see, we have it in book form, we have it in comic form even, but we don't have it in animation form as much, which is a shame.
Don't give George R.R. Martin any ideas, please. Just don't.
That next book is never being written.
No, he's gonna die before that book comes out. He's got 18 other projects, and it's yeah. Anyway, I'm not getting into this story right now. Anyway, moving on to the next episode that we're gonna talk about, which is Program. Program was written and directed by Yoshiaki Kawajiri, who is also the director of Wicked City, Ninja Scroll, and Vampire Hunter D Bloodlust. And this is the first of two episodes that were directed by Madhouse, or produced by Madhouse. The Mad Lads at Madhouse. So this story is it's also one of the shorter ones, if I'm not mistaken. It may be the shortest one.
At 8 minutes something.
Yeah, it's 8 minutes and a few seconds. I don't remember the exact length, but I do think it's one of the shortest ones.
No. 6 minutes 58 seconds.
Oh wow, so it's definitely the shortest one. I don't really have a whole lot to say here about the story, except that it kind of harkens to you remember the character of Cypher in the original Matrix movie, the one that betrayed them to the agents.
Yes.
This is kind of what this reminded me of, because you have the whole story is like a test, so to speak, for one person who they're trying to see if they're going to be a traitor, I guess.
Yeah.
Because
Sid.
they're in this like yeah, they're
No,
in this
Sis.
train. Sis, what a phenomenal name in 2025. Sis and Duo. Um, but it's and it all takes place, or most of it takes place, in this training program where one character, Sis, is trying to be swayed to betray everyone and like take the blue, or the one person, Duo, regrets taking the red pill, and wants to go back into the Matrix and just live out their life inside the Matrix in ignorant bliss. Which, you know, we were told, and we're shown it in the Matrix movies, that this is not necessarily uncommon. It happens with Cypher in the movie. Like, he just wants to go back to living in blissful ignorance. So I mean, it's nice that it calls back to that, but that's literally the whole story, and it's framed as a test at the very end, where we wanted to see if Sis would betray the group.
And you know, of course, Sis passes. It's such a nothing burger of a story. It's just, yeah, we run tests on new people just to see if they would betray us or not. Very simple, very short story. I have the biggest thing I want to talk about here is the animation.
The animation's gorgeous.
God. Madhouse went through the door. Wow, they did a fantastic job.
I love the fact that there are some like really good panning shots in this, like, because there's a lot of action in this. It's a lot of really fast-paced action, and it has to be because it's a very short episode.
Yeah, 95%
like,
of it was just action.
There's this really cool panning shot where she's like jumping between the rooftops. You know what I'm talking about, and
Yes.
like it does that like 90-degree turn, and I'm like, holy shit, that looks so good.
It looked expensive, is what it looked like, honestly.
Yeah.
But no, so many of those shots, so many jump shots, the actual clashing of blades. I was genuinely impressed.
It's really good sound design in this too.
Yes, and that's the other thing I was rather impressed by. They made it sound really good. The clacking of the rooftop tiles, the sword steel clashing, it moving through the air. They gave so much effort to the sound design. I was just like stunned watching this. I'm like, this does not feel like it's only like 7 minutes. I thought this was like, it felt like much longer because I felt like I was witnessing something epic.
Yeah. Something else I want to mention is that Phil fucking Lamar does a voice in this. And also we kind of glossed over this, but you and I both watched this in English because the English dub for all of these episodes are really good.
Yeah, and you guys should know this by now. I don't really watch English dub of like almost anything that much. But this is one of those that I did watch the English dub for when I was a kid, just because that's what I watched back then. And now I watched it because I was riding off of nostalgia. I'm like, let's check it out because it's been so long.
Yeah.
Fan-fucking-tastic. I mean, great voice acting all around. And not just for this episode, every single one of them. I'll say this now.
Yeah.
Fantastic voice acting. No complaints whatsoever from me. I really didn't have any.
I don't really have much else to say about this one. I wish that it was a little bit longer because of its short runtime, I couldn't really get very invested in the character, like the main character. And I feel like if I'd had more time with that character, I could have at least gotten emotionally invested in what she was going through.
Yeah, but so for me personally, I liked that it was so short. It was short, sweet story, and that's all I needed from it. And because of that, I was like, I'm fine with not being as invested. You only needed to show this was a test. Great action, great sound design, and that's it. and a guy got punched
Yep.
at the end. Like,
And
cool.
a guy got his lights punched out at the end, which was funny. But for that, I mean, it was enjoyable for what it was. I just wish there was a little bit more to get more attached to the character herself. But I'm gonna give it a 6.5 out of 10.
Yeah, and I give this a 7 out of 10.
All right. Next, we have probably one of the more divisive episodes in terms of what people think about it. World Record. This was directed by Takeshi Koike, who is probably most famous for directing the movie Redline. But he also directed the pilot to Afro Samurai, and he's directed several Lupin the Third movies. And this was written by Yoshiaki Kawajiri, who directed the previous episode that we talked about, and it done by Madhouse.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, you're fine. So I gotta ask. I didn't know that this was so divisive. What's so divisive about it? Like,
I think it's the animation style. I mean, this is Takeshi Koike to a T. Like, especially if you watch Redline, you can see where the similarities are.
Yeah.
The character designs are very disproportionate, shall we say? I don't know. For people that I've talked to about the Animatrix, they either really like World Record or they really hate it.
So, for me, I have mixed feelings on it. I genuinely enjoyed the animation of it and the background shots. The character design is what threw me off the most for World Record. It just felt weird to me. It felt very art noir in a way.
Yeah. What did you think of like the very minimalist background art?
I appreciated it because the story is based around the main character of it, Dan Davis, preparing for a track race because he has and he has an unstable connection to the Matrix, to the point of him being able to wake up by himself. What was it they called? Subservient? No.
No. They have a word for it. I guess the agents have a word for it when someone's able to wake up by themselves from the Matrix.
Substantiate.
Self-substantiative.
Yeah, yeah, that.
Yeah, when people can basically realize that they're in the Matrix without being actually physically removed from it.
Yeah, is the
I guess
act of
that would
blue
probably be
pill
like
becoming aware and or escaping from the Matrix without any external help or means.
I wonder if that has the same feeling of like a lucid dream.
I have a feeling that that's what the comparison is.
Yeah.
Either way, because of that, because he's outperforming so much, because he pushes himself so much, he manages to essentially make an unstable connection and wake up to reality. And because the focus is on the character and his mental state so much, it feels like the background does not matter, and visually that's represented through a minimalistic background. I found that interesting, and I found it works because of the story. The minimalistic background works because of that exact fact.
As a viewer, it forces you to look at the character animations, not the background art.
Exactly.
Which the character animations in this are wild as fuck. Which, again, it's Takeshi Koike. Of course it's going to be. Watch Redline.
Yeah, very stretchy parts, very wildly enthused faces. It's uncanny, honestly.
Yes, uncanny is a good way to say this. I asked you this before we actually started recording, but I have the distinct impression that if this came out today, people would wonder if it was AI generated.
And yeah, and just as I said earlier, I hate that. I genuinely hate that.
I was watching it and I'm like, God damn, if this came out today, there'd be so many people like, that's AI, that's AI, that's AI.
And it's like, no, this is just an art style choice. It's a very deliberate choice. But no, I think people nowadays, if this was the first time they saw it, they'd be like, oh yeah, that's shitty AI. And it's like, no, this is actually
It's
hard
just
human
artistic
effort.
expression.
Yeah.
The one thing I will say about this, I love the fact that this is framed around like trying to break a world record at an Olympic event, the 100-meter sprint. And you have that scene near the end where Dan is like, he's obviously like blown his muscles out in his leg, but because he's like so attuned to the fact that he's like actually in the Matrix, he's like, nah, I'd win, and just completely ignores the fact that his muscles have been blown out and just finishes the race and breaks the world record.
And it's so cool, that transition moment of like him blowing his muscles out run almost at the finish line, and then the agents stop time, try to get to him, but like he is so on the race. Dan is so on the race, he breaks through that time stop and breaks through the Matrix itself, and he starts seeing code, and then for a moment he actually wakes up, and a medbot happens to be nearby, so it forces him back into the Matrix and anesthetizes him, so that he falls back asleep, his memories erased. But I'm just like, holy shit, that looked cool. Like he suppressed the illusion.
Yeah, even as brief as it was, because he has this moment of, like, we'll call it a moment of clarity, where he kind of sees everything for what it is, but then when he's like snapped back to the Matrix and he actually does like fall over because, you know, he realizes, oh my god, my muscles are like fucked up, and then the next thing you see is him at the hospital with the nurse pushing him in the wheelchair, and his legs are like in these like restraining bolts. You're like, wow, it's not like he wasn't like Neo. He wasn't able to escape the Matrix. He just saw the world for what it was for a few seconds.
Yeah, he almost did it. He was almost there, which is so cool to me.
Because he's not the one.
Yeah, which is also bullshit, but like that's into the movies.
It's kind of a very bittersweet ending too, because he ends with a good legacy. Like he broke the world record, and it's probably a world record that's going to stand for a long time, at least in the Matrix world.
Yeah, which is something the agent himself also says. It's like the agent says reverently, a record that will live on in people's memories for years to come. What more could anyone ask for?
Yeah, but the payoff to that is not only will he never run again, he very likely will never walk again. But you see him try to, like, he has that moment where he's like almost about to break free of the Matrix again, where he actually stands up on his own out of the wheelchair and starts walking, and the agent that's watching him is like losing his mind.
Like, oh no, don't. And it's like it's so cool because the nurse who was just talking whatever bullshit, she didn't care until
that nurse
he starts.
Shut the fuck up.
There are nurses like that, let me tell you. But it's funny when he uttered the word free while he was in that wheelchair, and then he starts standing up, and then shattering the braces and the nuts and bolts flying off his legs as he was slowly standing, and then like he says free again, but like it's in a deeper, more
each time he says
voice.
It, his voice gets deeper.
Yeah, and it's like he starts rising and like starts lifting off,
and the agent keeps going, sit down.
I was just like, holy shit, this is so fucking cool. And like he starts slowly lifting and his clothes are billowing. I'm just like, this is so fucking cool. It's so nerdy, but like, wow, I am impressed.
You get that sense for just a moment, like maybe he is the one.
Yeah, but
and then he
collapses.
the very next cut is just to him on the ground.
It was such a cool
very
shot
bittersweet
and scene.
Very, very bittersweet ending. But yeah, I mean that's world record. I give it a 7 out of 10.
I gave it a 6 out of 10 because I wasn't as impressed by this, but there were certainly moments that I thought were really cool. Something that the director did say, whether or not Dan finally frees himself is left deliberately ambiguous for it to be interpreted by the audience for either way. and the director specifically said, "I just want people to choose whatever choice pleases them." So it's a very much your audience choice of does he free himself or not.
Yeah, I feel like since there was an agent there witnessing the whole thing, I would assume that if he actually was able to free himself, they probably just unplugged him. The machines probably would have unplugged him and just killed him.
Maybe I don't know. Like, and that's the great thing. This is very much up to the viewer's choice.
Yeah. All right. Moving on. Speaking of episodes with a unique art style, we're going to move on to Kid's Story, which was directed by Shinichiro Watanabe, who I'm assuming needs no introduction. The director of Cowboy Bebop, Samurai Champloo, Space Dandy, Carol and Tuesday, and most recently, unfortunately, Lazarus.
Yes,
which we have a spoiler cast on.
Watanabe.
Bad Watanabe. Hey, even a genius is entitled to have a bad day.
Yeah.
This is also written by Watanabe, but the story itself was conceptualized by the Wachowskis and done by Studio 4C. This is one of the it is the first, actually, that deals with the character from the Matrix movies. It deals with the character of Kid. And this particular episode takes place during that 6-month gap between the end of the first Matrix movie and the beginning of The Matrix Reloaded.
I'll say this. I don't have too much to say about Kid's Story. I thought this was just
Can we talk about the art style, though? Because that's wild. The art style is another one of those things. You either love it or you hate it.
It felt weird to me. I thought it felt like they were trying too hard with the art style.
It almost feels like it's unfinished, like, storyboards with keyframes in between.
Yeah, I think that's genuinely what I dislike about it. But don't get me wrong. I love seeing storyboards. I love seeing keyframes.
I love seeing how the sausage is made.
Yeah, I love seeing how the sausage is made. But don't give me an unfinished sausage. Give me a final product. This did not feel like a final product. This felt like they were like, all right, this is good enough. We don't have enough money. Like, put it out there. I didn't like that. I thought some of the shots were pretty cool and how it was done was interesting. But it was so blurry in some places. I was just like, not for me.
I felt like this style is more conducive to, like, close-ups than it is wide shots. Because with the wide shots, everything looks so, to use your term, blurry or faded. Like, you don't see any fine details in anything at the wide shots. But when they do the close-ups, especially on the faces, I think this style is fine. I don't know. That's that's just my opinion.
Yeah. Sorry. No. Went full robotic there for a moment. It scared me.
Listen, it's fine. It's fine.
Scared the piss out of me.
I am not a machine.
No. So
Yet.
and you're right. It's it was when it was close up shots, it looked good. It genuinely did. But like because it was combined with the faraway shots that looked unfinished, quite frankly. It felt like a mess. It felt like I was watching a mess, and I did not like that.
As for a short, because this is also not a particularly long episode. For a short, I think it works fine. I would not want to see this as like a 12-episode anime.
No, and you know what? That's fine. It was a quick short. It was just part of a character that we actually have in the movie, so I thought it was all right, sure.
And it shows it's an interesting origin story for the character of Kid, because Kid kind of just appears in the second movie with no explanation as to who he is or why Neo gives a shit about him.
And speaking of Neo, you actually get actual Neo
and Trinity
in this, which I thought I was like, okay, that's cool. Like a little cameo appearance.
And for anyone who doesn't remember the character of Kid, his like defining moment, I think, in The Matrix is, do you remember that the scene where the machines have busted in through the walls of Zion and they're all over the place and they got these people in the APUs doing the mechs shooting them?
Look cool as
So
shit.
Kid is and you remember the one guy that has his APU jam, right?
Mm-hmm.
Kid is the guy that goes out there and unjams it.
Right. And that looked such a badass hero moment. I was just like,
Yes.
fuck yeah!
So it is cool to see this little bit of an origin story for Kid. Another person who was like a blue pill that sort of figured out what was wrong and what was going on with the Matrix. And that's how that's how he came to like be that's how Neo came to know about him. I don't know, the whole thing with him like committing suicide to get out of the Matrix was an interesting twist.
It was a little bit of a dark choice to make, but I appreciate the fact that they made that. I don't know. It's a bit too dark in my opinion. I feel like they could have done something else.
Yeah. But I generally didn't hate it. And it's got a little bit of Watanabe flair to it. So I gave it a 7 out of 10.
I gave it. What did I give it?
A 7 out of 10 as well.
Yes. I thought the story was more interesting than the animation itself. Honestly, didn't have too much to talk about it, but yeah,
it was cool because if you watch the English dub, you actually get to hear Keanu Reeves, Carrie-Anne Moss, and who was Kid's actor? I know this. Clayton Walston.
Yes.
Who played him in the movies as well. So yeah, you actually get to hear them doing their voice performances in this. It's the only time you hear Keanu Reeves as Neo. There is one other episode where Trinity appears and is voiced by Carrie-Anne Moss as well. But we'll get to that one in just a moment. The next episode I want to talk about is Beyond, which was also done by Studio 4C and written and directed by Koji Morimoto. Now, Koji Morimoto has worked on a lot of stuff over the years, but probably the most famous thing they worked on was not as a director, but was one of the key animators for 1988's Akira.
And that's always cool. To move to the actual episode itself, I personally thought this was the weakest episode out of all of the Animatrix. I honestly thought that they could have cut this out entirely and it would have been just fine.
There's not much to it, and it doesn't really like add much to like the Matrix mythos or the overall universe. I just think of it as like this fun little experiment, because the entire story revolves around a teenage girl who goes looking for her cat, right? And while looking for her cat, she finds this area within the Matrix that is glitching out. And I will say one cool thing that I liked about this episode was the animation with all the glitches. That was cool to see.
That was genuinely cool because I've actually encountered some of those very same glitches in games that I've played. So watching it, I'm like, oh hey, I've done that. Like, it's funny, it's silly to me.
And I will say it's because all of these glitches are just that. They're not like crazy, like they're gonna kill you or anything. They're like gravity glitches or object glitches where they move around on their own, and
artifact glitches. Yeah,
artifact glitches. Yeah, I mean, and it's one of those things that made me wonder, like, because I never thought about it as a kid watching the Matrix movie. That's like, well, this is a computer program, and computer programs often have these little bugs that prop up. So how do the machines like deal with that? Because you see a small thing with that in the first Matrix movie with the cat in that one building where they call it the deja vu sequence, where Neo sees the same cat twice.
Yeah,
as they're going up the stairs, and like, and then everyone loses their shit over that because it's, you know, a glitch in the Matrix. I was it was cool to see how the machines handle stuff like this.
Yeah, outright direct people and resources to it to immediately take care of it, because otherwise that's a problem that self-propagates and goes out of control, and they need to be on top of it.
Yeah. But that's really all there is to this. There's not much in the way of story. I would say the best thing about this is just its animation and how whimsical everything looks. I will say, of all of the episodes of the Animatrix, this one is the only one which I thought, just forget the fact that it takes place in the Matrix, just the look and feel of it almost kind of look like a Ghibli movie.
Almost. I would say it's closer to just more dated anime look more than anything. It certainly feels like it's something from around that time, but it's definitely got a lot more anime episode feel to it.
Yeah. I didn't hate it, but I do think in terms of its story alone, it's probably the weakest.
Yeah, and I fully agree. Like, it's not something I like outright hated or dispassionate about. It's just a big nothing burger for me. I'm just like,
Yeah.
why is this here? There's no point in this. It doesn't really add anything. It's like maybe a
It's
little
the
bit
closest
of lore.
thing it's the closest thing we have to like a breather episode in this, because like nothing really happens. Nothing bad happens to any of the characters.
But
They all just kind of go about their day afterwards.
yeah, but nothing entirely good either. It's just
No.
it's whatever.
It's you know what? It's Matrix slice of life. That's exactly what this episode is. I'm not joking. This is the Matrix equivalent to a slice of life.
And don't get me wrong, I love Slice of Life, but I don't think this was it. I think this was a mess. I don't think it has a place here.
Yeah. It was interesting to see like daily life within the Matrix with people who are not like red pilled, or they're like fully blue pilled. They're not concerned with leaving the Matrix. They don't know that the Matrix exists.
They just exist in it. This is their reality day to day, and like they found a glitch in reality, and they were just enjoying it. That's all it was.
That's it. I mean, I give it a 6 out of 10 because I mean, I still like the animation style, even though the story is a little lacking.
Yeah, I gave it a 6 out of 10 for the exact same reason. Nothing substantial.
All right. Well, then we will move on to the next episode, which is the second of 2 episodes that are directed and written by Shinichiro Watanabe, and also done by Studio 4C. This is a detective story. This is probably my second favorite episode of the Animatrix.
Same, actually, because I was like, oh, I love the noir vibes of this. Like this hits so right. Like if I as soon as I first saw it, then like the black and white, I was just like, if I start hearing some jazz, I would fully be ready for it.
And you do.
And I did. And I was like, let's fucking go. Like
while there are some Watanabe flares to Kid's story, Watanabe is just bukaki'd all over this episode.
This was his entire personality on this episode. I was just like,
I honestly,
yes.
as much as I love the Second Renaissance, I would say if you have to just watch one episode from the Animatrix, watch this one. It's so good. I love the Art Deco style. I love the fact that it's retro futurism. With a lot of the technology you see, like some of it looks like straight out of the 1930s or 40s, but yet you have like flat screen TVs and computer monitors, but yet they're using typewriters to type with.
It's so weird, but it feels almost
it feels like a combination between steampunk and cyberpunk.
Yeah, no, and there is a specific word for it. I forgot what it is, but like
cyber steam.
Not exactly, but like there is a word for it. I just forgot what it was. But it's so cool, and like you have even rotary dial phones as well. And I'm just like, okay, this is a really cool thing to have in the
Mm.
world, and it's a deliberate choice. It's a nonsensical choice as well,
But
but
I
it
am
was
a
all about
sucker.
vibes. Yeah,
I am a sucker for neo noir detective stories. Like I inject that shit straight into my veins. It's
along
like
with the
one of my
jazz.
favorite video games of all time is LA Noir, and like I'm so here for shit like this. And the story is actually really good. This is a story I would not mind seeing expanded into something a little longer, maybe like a 30 or 45-minute long episode. Um but I mean, and it's a simple story too. You have your main character who is a detective, who is hired, which we find out later, is hired by agents to find a hacker named Trinity, and it is the Trinity from the Matrix movies. It's Carrie Ann Moss's
Yep,
character.
you get to hear her
Um,
and everything again, which is really
yeah,
cool.
and we actually get to hear her for an extended period. I think she only has one line in Kid's story, but here she actually is like a character that we get to talk to for a couple minutes at least. Um, but the whole thing is just the agents setting the detective up in order to help them find Trinity.
Yeah, and it's funny. It's almost fanciful for them to use fellow humans that don't know about the Matrix to
Mm-hmm.
use them to find their fellow humans in this world. And I'm just
Yep.
like, is that necessary? Maybe not, but at the same time,
But is it cool?
is it
Yes.
cool? Yes, for story purposes. Wow,
Yes.
it's cool. It's fun.
Yeah. Um, I and actually the seeing Trinity and actually she actually acts like Trinity in the movies. So I mean that's cool as well. I love, like we talked about it a little bit before. I love the art style. This black and white noir art style. I wish more anime would be done in black and white. That's going to be a really weird thing to say, but I'd love to see more black and white anime.
Yeah, it's such a difficult thing to pull off, especially because the black and white style pulls so much on shading and light exposure, doing it correctly. So it's not something easy to do. But man, would it be nice to see? Yes.
Also, shout out to the detective's cat. That's a cool cat.
just grabs the hat and then
And just zonk, just throws it at him. And he's like, thanks.
like, you're a cool cat. See you never again.
Yeah, see this cat never again. But yeah, it's like this is the rule of cool, like just dialed up to 11, and that's why I absolutely adore this episode. I easily give this an 8 out of 10. I'm gonna say I'm gonna give it 8.5 out of 10.
Oh, high score. I gave this a 7 out of 10 because, again, I thought it was okay. I don't think it was going up to 8, but like, was it cool in terms of everything I saw? Yes, and I definitely enjoyed it.
Yeah. All right. Moving on to this is the next to last episode that we're going to talk about. It is Matriculated. This was done by DNA Productions, and if DNA Productions sounds relatable to you, it's probably because you've seen The Adventures of Jimmy Neutron Boy Genius.
This was something they actually put money into, though.
Hey, we will not have Jimmy Neutron slander here.
They literally have talked about how little budget they have. God, the
Yes.
amount of clipping you see in that show.
Yes. This was directed and written by Peter Chung. Now, Peter Chung is important because he is the creator and director of a little animated project that some of you may have remembered called Aeon Flux, which is something I would love to do a spoiler cast on at some point.
Maybe someday.
Because I think there's a lot of people that remember the sort of very mid live action adaptation of it from the mid 2000s.
Oh, don't remind me.
But very few people remember the fact that it's based on something that is animated, and the animation for that is wild and out there. And you can definitely see that in this particular episode as well. You can definitely see Peter Chung's influence for sure in the art style.
I didn't enjoy Matriculated that much, honestly.
I want to ask you something.
Okay.
Because overall, I didn't really like it that much either, but I like the idea they were going for in the story.
The idea of it was really cool, and I'm just like, okay, if they expanded
It's
on
something
it
we never
better,
see in the Matrix movies.
it's sort of. I mean, no, we have with what's it called? Not the architect.
The
The
Oracle?
the Oracle. Yes, the Oracle. We've seen that with her.
But yeah, and I think it's appropriate that everyone dies at the end of this because it's a good reason why we never heard about this in the movies. But I like the idea that there is like a splinter faction of humans who kind of live and work on the surface who are trying to one at a time find these machines, and instead of destroying them, trying to give them free will over their programming.
Yeah, because a majority of the AI isn't free, so to speak. They do fall under branches of the main AI. But like
Yeah.
you have certain ones that can be freed, and like they try to free them. And in this, you do see it succeeding. You do see them succeeding in that at the very end.
Yeah, I mean, kind of. I mean, everyone dies, so I mean that's why you probably never heard of them. And I'm assuming this is supposed to take place before the Matrix movies.
I assume so.
It makes more sense that way. But I like the idea of it more than the execution because the execution is kind of sloppy. Like, there's a lot of the trippy animation I kind of like a lot, especially when they're all plugged in and trying to, let's be honest, propagandize the machine that they captured. But I don't know. I feel like this needed more dialogue. There's not a lot of dialogue in this episode.
It's I think they relied too heavily on the art punk style of it, more than actually giving it exposition. And I do think some exposition would have helped instead of leaving it entirely up to interpretation as they did. And don't get me wrong, I thought the visuals were kind of cool. I thought the visuals looked good. It just didn't work for the story.
Yeah, especially for such a short story like this, which is funny because I think Matriculated is the longest episode. I think. I want to say it's
16
like
minutes.
16 yeah, I think it is.
Exactly.
I think it is the longest episode.
No,
I wish.
Final Flight of Osiris is longer at 17 minutes 26.
Really?
Yes.
That did not feel like 17 minutes when I watched it. But no. I guess maybe put together the Second Renaissance, both parts, is probably the longest. But anyway, that's not. If we had gotten more time with these characters and more like exposition as to what they're doing and why they feel like they're in the right when they're not, like, you know, at Zion and like fighting the good fight there. I feel like that is what this story needed. Like, it's cool to see this. It's cool to see that there's this splinter group who thinks maybe there's another way to go about, like, doing this with the machines instead of just fighting them. But I really wish we had been given a little more backstory as to why they're like this.
And it's like, if they gave us a tidbit more, like even a little bit, I think it would have helped this episode out just a little bit more, make it more sense, make it more relatable. But because of the fact that it was missing, it suffered for it. And again, visuals are cool. I will keep on saying that the visuals of this were cool. I enjoyed it, but we didn't have what was necessary, and I think it failed because of that.
I feel like the biggest issue with this is its writing. It just needed like one more writing revision, I think.
Yeah, one more writing revision, a little bit more voice acting, and I think we would have been good.
Yeah, just a little bit more backstory to these characters would have been really good. But visually, I love what they were going for. Unfortunately, I have to give this a 6 out of 10. I don't want to.
Yeah, for me, I gave it a 5 out of 10, just because I was like, all right, like one of the weakest stories in here. Idea, cool. Execution, not good.
Yeah. All right, and that leads us to the final episode that we're going to talk about, which is Final Flight of the Osiris, which, if you watch the DVD, this is actually the first episode that you see on the DVD. This is directed by Andy Jones, who... This is the only thing he's ever directed.
Yeah, it's like he directed this one thing. He was like, nah, not for me. I'm going back to VFX.
Yeah, because that's what Andrew Jones is primarily a visual effects artist who has been in and around Hollywood for many, many years now, and has been nominated for and won a couple of Academy Awards for Best Visual Effects. He won for Avatar in 2009, and he also won for The Jungle Book back in 2016. Has also been nominated for two others, iRobot in 2004 and the Lion King remake in 2019. So yeah, and he's worked on some other stuff as well. Also worked on the visuals for World War Z, Titanic, Godzilla 98, Final Fantasy: The Spirits Within.
Like,
God, remember Final Fantasy: The Spirits Within?
God, a long time ago. No, so he's an industry vet. He's been around for a good while.
Yeah. This was also written by the Wachowskis themselves. So I have to imagine this is fully canon, if they wrote it. And the studio that worked on this was Square USA, a division of Square Enix, and that is why it is the only episode that is full 3D CG.
But it didn't look bad. Is the thing.
It certainly didn't look bad for the time this came out, and I would argue while it hasn't held up perfectly, it's held up well enough.
It's very dated. You can certainly say that. Like, especially the part of while they were inside the Matrix is very
the training
dated.
session.
Yeah, the training session.
Yeah.
Very dated. But outside of it, when they went outside of the Matrix and went back to the ship, it's actually a different art style, and that actually looked a lot better, a lot more smooth, a lot cleaner. I genuinely liked it.
I will argue the CG in this has held up way better than the CG in Final Fantasy: The Spirits Within.
Oh, buddy,
there's some uncanny shit in that movie.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. I don't know if it holds up to that level of comparison, but
there is some uncanny shit in Final Fantasy: The Spirits Within. But no, so again, this is another one where I like the idea of it more than I like the execution, because the opening is fantastic, where you get that like sexual tension with that training sequences between the two main characters, whose names I totally not completely forgot.
Hold on.
Jew and who's the other one? I cannot remember his name. Thaddeus. Thank you, Thaddeus. I like that because you get like immediately you get the sexual tension between them, and you obviously know
this was
that
definitely the horniest episode.
Yes, and you know that there's definitely something up with them. It's just like. And we see something similar to what happens in one of the Matrix movies, where you know they're going through the tunnels and everything, and they're getting attacked by the machines, and you have this the chase sequence is really awesome, by the way. I really like that, but again, you get a story that is supposed to be like emotional, because during this chase sequence they're like, well, we got to broadcast that, because this is okay. I'm getting way ahead of myself. They find the drilling machine that you see in the Matrix Revolutions that's going to go down into Zion. They find it at the surface, and so they got to warn everybody. But if they broadcast, then the machines are going to know that they're there. And so they make the decision to risk it so that they can get a message out. So Jew has to go back into the Matrix and send out the message.
And they actually say a goodbye when she hooks in, because they know almost for certain that they all know they're suicide plan. Yeah,
they know the second they start broadcasting is the second they're gonna die. But you get to watch that cool chase sequence with the machines and the ship, the Osiris, and if I had had more time to get to know these characters, that emotional thing with her dying and the ship blowing up and all that stuff, it would have hit better if I'd had more time with these characters to get to know them.
And I somewhat agree with that, but I do appreciate what we were given for this. It's a short film. You can only do so much with it, and
it is an explanation as to how the people of Zion knew that the machines were coming.
yes, and it's
Because
funny,
that's not explained in the movie.
No, it's not. But it's funny if you actually watch this in theaters before The Matrix Reloaded, you would actually know, like, oh no, this is why they know, because Final Flight of the Osiris was actually shown in cinemas to promote the release of Matrix Reloaded, and it was screened alongside Dreamcatcher by Stephen King.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was
That's a
premiered
shitty movie, by the way.
Yeah, Dreamcatcher of the same name from Stephen King, about 8 weeks before the general release of Matrix Reloaded.
Mm-hmm. And this also it is a setup to the prologue for the long-forgotten video game Enter the Matrix.
I've actually watched
animation,
my friend play through that, and it was a very dated game.
Enter the Matrix is a very dated game, but this is essentially a prologue for that game as well. So it's pulling a lot of heavy duty. It is a setup for what happens in The Matrix Reloaded. It is the prologue for the video game Enter the Matrix, and it's actually trying to tell a story about the people on this ship at the same time.
Does a lot, only limited amount of time. I'm quite frankly impressed with what they managed to do, and I thought visually it looked fantastic.
Yeah, if you take out the training thing at the beginning, it generally still holds up. The CGI still generally holds up.
Yeah, that training thing honestly brought it down, but whatever. It's such a short little segment compared to the majority of it.
I give Final Fight of the Osiris a 6.5 out of 10. I just wanted just a little bit more out of it.
Yeah, I would have liked a little bit more, but you know what? Like, visually it looked cool. Story-wise, it made sense. 7 out of 10 from me. Yeah, no. Nothing else.
And that's it. That's every single episode of the Animatrix. What would you give as a whole? What would you give because the way I've been doing these scores is I've been comparing them all to each other. But as a whole, like, product, what do you give the Animatrix out of 10?
I think this is a solid 7 out of 10. Nothing,
I agree.
Nothing fantastic or out there, but if you enjoy the Matrix world and the franchise as a whole, I think this is certainly something you should put on the list of you need to watch it, because it explains a lot. It explores a good amount. I would honestly say it's required viewing if you're a fan.
Yeah, I would argue that too. I think that there are some that are obviously better than others. There's a couple episodes that don't really add a whole lot to the Matrix canon, but the ones that do add and do expand upon the stuff that was explored in the movies generally do so really well. Especially the detective story. I really love a detective story so much.
Watanabe, you've done it again.
Watanabe, you did better with this than you did with Lazarus.
God.
But yeah, that is going to be our review, our spoiler cast of the Animatrix. Let us know below what you think of the Animatrix as a whole. What is your favorite episode of the Animatrix? Do you... Are our scores bullshit or not? Tell us. I want to know.
Are we not thinking too deeply about this? Is that what's wrong? Do we need to get philosophy majors?
Have we actually taken the blue pill? Are we beta cugs? No, don't answer that last question. I don't want to know your answer to that question. Really, I don't.
Oh, God.
But thank you all for dropping by to watch us talk about it. Don't forget to like this if you liked it. Subscribe if you want to see more. Comment below, like I said, what you thought about this. What are some anthology series that you would like to see us talk about? Because there are a couple of others that we do have on the docket that we are going to be doing soon. So maybe one that you want us to do is one that we already have a plan to do. But there are also others out there, and I love anthology series. Check down below where you can find links to all the stuff Anime Club After Dark does on Twitter, on TikTok. We have a Discord server link down there as well. We also have a link to our merch store where you can support Anime Club After Dark that way if you would like to. But with all that being said, I have been your host, Alex, and we will see you next time. Say goodnight, Shinoda.
Hey, Alex. Red
Yes.
pill or blue pill?
Orange pill.